I want to make a couple of observations. Firstly, the IT desk, Haspel Street. How did he get the name? We tagged him that name, Haspel Street IT desk, because he was not working, but he did run a cottage industry, if you want to call it that, selling items on eBay. There might be a question about is he paying taxes or not, but really that's not what this is about today. I got a call from Brian a few weeks ago, left a voice message saying that he's going to get Irish citizenship, go down to the Irish consulate in Manhattan, and then from there go to Ireland, if they'll take him even. I mean, I don't know what he's going to bring into Ireland. And then he says from there he can go into Europe. And he wants to globetrot. Now, he tells me that, and several days later, he's on the phone with Bob Caligari in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, telling Bob that he's going to pursue that doorman / security position. He also told me about that, so I was aware of that. So Brian likes to give various stories based on who he's talking to. I'll give an example. John and Ellen, he sells them a bill of goods. He'll give Bob Caligari a bill of goods. He'll give John McCann a bill of goods, or Marion Kaiser a bill of goods. Everybody along the way. And of course, Marilyn, the redhead from Pennsylvania, out in Z. She had enough of his shenanigans. You know, he would go out there, Pennsylvania, 3 days. He had a key to her home, because one time he called me from there, says, well, she's not home yet. Well, obviously it sounded like he had a key there. He was in the house. Well, that came to a close, didn't it now? Incidentally, you folks, you did hear the voicemail, or some folks did hear the voicemail that I received. It was a two back-to-backs, 2-minute plus 2-minute voicemail regarding his departure with Marilyn. But, you know, I've come to conclude over the last couple of years, I never really knew this about Brian. I never really pieced it together, but when you study the voicemails, then you find out from various people what he's telling other people. He is, if he doesn't realize it, he's really an habitual liar. He'll tell you just what you want to hear. If anybody out in Arizona wants to send him a free plane ticket, he'll be right on there. He knows he's going to get free meal, free quarters, free everything. Maryland and Pennsylvania had enough of this. There you go. And you know the rest of the story. Most folks that are watching this would understand what I'm talking about. So there you have it. So my hands are washed of him because of the fact that he, you know, I advised him about Marilyn. I says, you know, what are you doing with her? And see, he was probably not meeting her even halfway. And this is what happened when he was with his first fiancée, and then he was in Chicago with Judy when he was married and barricading himself in there with all his albums. And Judy even said to me one day, or Brian might have related this, but then again, the source, Brian, I don't know if he can tell the truth or not. I don't think so. She even questioned why he keeps looking up these old girls that he used to know. And it wasn't like he was stooping them. You understand what I'm saying? What are you looking them up? When a guy calls a girl after 15 years, it's because ba-da-bum, 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 ba-da-bum. That's what he's looking. What do you think he's calling her? To say hello? He believes it. They don't believe it. So that's Brian. And best of luck to him if he's going to go to Ireland or whatever cock and bull story he's given me or given Ellen and John in Arizona, or Joanne and Bob. That's another story. I thought it was very odd that Bob and Joanne had him come out to Pennsylvania. Now I want to tell you something about that. Brian would never have went out to Pennsylvania to see Bob and Joanne unless Marilyn was doing the driving, spending the gas, and covering all the expenses. That's a fact. Let me tell you something. But Bob told me this in an email, that Brian was supposed to go back out there, and just the day came and went, and Bob out there in Stroudsburg was expecting him. Why didn't he go? because, gee, now we'd have to take a train out there and spend money to go out there. You know, he's not going to do that. He's going to have, he would have preferred to have Marilyn drive him out, you see? So it's always what's convenient for him. So my hands are washed to him. He does not have to call me anymore. And as far as any more relevant voicemails coming in, I may accept those voicemails, or I might even delete them without even listening to them. I am so fed up with him. I'm so fed up with him. And that's it. I've said it all. And as far as this YouTube link, you can shove this any place you want to shove it, folks. You can send it to him or send it to anybody you like to send it to. We're done. And I've told him off many a time, and he keeps calling. He was never supposed to get the phone number. Just keep that in mind. But he had the number, so all right. We entertained that whole thing for a while, but at this stage, it's impossible. You know, the majority of his voicemails, and I have about 150 of them, the majority of his voicemails were basically he was complaining. It was like a confessional. He'd walk the streets of Elmhurst. You know, the Georgia Diner was about 3 or 4 blocks down there on Queens Boulevard. 3 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep. He's there, it's raining. He's got no umbrella. He's holding the cell phone. He's calling me on my voicemail, telling me blow by blow where he is. He's going to Georgia Diner. I mean, can you call anybody locally? Call up somebody that can talk to you. And he made this this was a regular pattern with him. Then he's got the gout. He breaks up with Marilyn. And he says, I don't care, I'm going to the Georgia Diner, I'm having a hamburger, and then I'll let the doctor drain my leg out next week. Then he tells me he's got to take the security job because he needs the medical insurance. Then he changes his story and tells me, another voicemail, that I'm going to Ireland. Folks, honestly, in radio land out there, and YouTube land, can you figure this guy out? Inform me, what is exactly going on with him? You know, the target is constantly moving. I really, honestly, folks, do not believe anything he's telling me anymore. He does not have to call me any longer. No more. Then he's telling me, oh, my phone is always open and call the house anytime. I'm sorry. You're not being legitimate. You're not being legitimate to Ellen and John. You sell them a bill of goods, or anybody that you come in contact with. And Ellen is a nervous wreck. I sent her one voicemail, and then I realized, you know something? She's up there in years. She's got her hands full with her own family. She does not need the BS of Brian right now, or me laying it onto her with him. So that's why I just lay low. I'm just sending this one video out so everybody can understand this guy cannot be trusted. The reason why he's running around with all the, like Marion Kaiser, we know her since she was 15. She's like 56 right now. The reason why he looks these folks up, we've concluded, is that he cannot stand to be by himself. He cannot stand to be Brian McGinnis, because Brian McGinnis is very boring. So he's got to be a gabber. He's got to be involved with all these girls from 55 years ago and live in the past. Fine. That's fine. Adios. I said it all now. You got the whole story. More information than you needed to know coming up on 9 minutes into this diatribe. And I want to let the world know on YouTube, this is an unlisted link right now, meaning that I sent you, whoever's receiving this, I sent you the URL so you can view this privately. But this is going to be posted real soon, and the world is going to know about this guy. His cover has been blown. I'm sorry. His cover has been so blown. And I do not want Brian to give me a response. If you want to send this over to him, fine. I'm not going to send this to him, because then the phone will start ringing. And I'm going to start deleting. So there you have it. Almost 10 minutes into it. I've said it all. You think I'm bad? You think that you can't stand it no more hearing about Brian? Try this, 150 messages times 2 minutes. That's 300 minutes. How many hours of that is that? How many hours of Brian McGinnis show? I want to put on a CD or a jump drive. Honestly, if I gave it to John and Helen, Helen would have a conniption. I don't think Helen could take what I have on audio. She would fall out of her chair. So that's why I'm reluctant to even give her a glimpse of this guy that she thinks she knows from back when we were 20 years old. Okay? His cover is so blown. Well, that's it, folks. Enjoy the insanity that's known as Brian McGinnis. This transmission is complete. End transmission.